If you like this,
In case I don't see ya.
you might like these.
Question is,
Who are you?
hello, someone there?
I recently made a series all about The Truman Show, and I've made a list of 10 things I think you might enjoy if you're looking for something that will scratch a similar itch. They might have tonal or thematic similarities, or use a similar concept, but take it in a different direction. Or they might have an aesthetic vibe that I think would work well as a double feature. This list is presented in no particular order, and I've saved a few honourable mentions for the end. 1. Real Life, 1979, directed by Albert Brooks.
You know, so many of us go through life doing one thing and dreaming of doing something else. I'm one of those people.
This absolutely cutting satire is Albert Brooks' directorial debut and was co-written with Harry Shearer and Monica Johnson. It spoofs the early PBS reality show An American Family, but quickly spirals into chaos. It relentlessly pokes fun of television culture, Hollywood, and Albert Brooks himself, whose self-skewering performance is as dark as it is funny.
Really, Warren. Trust me.
2. Stranger Than Fiction, 2006, directed by Mark Forster. I slept on this for years, and when I finally watched it, I couldn't believe I'd left it so long. Stranger Than Fiction stars Will Ferrell as Harold Crick, a man whose life suddenly starts being narrated by a voice only he can hear.
Harold suddenly found himself beleaguered and exasperated outside the bakery.
Shut up!
He soon realizes he is the protagonist of a novel, and enters into a kind of dialogue with his reality that is more poignant and insightful than it has any right to be. It has a lot to say about creativity and faith and God, but it also stays rooted in a very charming love story. 3. Louis XIX, King of the Airwaves, 1994, directed by Michel Poulet. This French-Canadian television gem is the movie that was remade by Ron Howard into 1999's Ed TV. Completely unlike Ed TV, it's charming and heartfelt. A playful romantic comedy about a man who wins a competition to be the first person to have their life filmed and broadcast live 24/7. I would highly recommend tracking this down if you can, and I would give Ed TV a miss. 4. Pleasantville, 1998, directed by Gary Ross. Pleasantville follows two siblings, David and Jennifer, who get sucked into the all-too-perfect black and white world of David's favorite classic sitcom. Their anachronisms and outside knowledge, particularly Jennifer's rebellious streak and adolescent sexuality, start to disrupt Pleasantville in unexpected ways.
It's always the same, you know? Grill the bun, flip the meat, melt the cheese, never changes.
It has some amazing performances from the likes of Jeff Daniels, Joan Allen, and William H. Macy. It also has tons of really interesting things to say about reading, art, education, and the importance of creative expression. Unfortunately, it also contains a pretty fatal misstep in its metaphors that has caused it to age very badly. You'll know it when you see it. 5. Synecdoche, New York, 2008, directed by Charlie Kaufman. An ambitious and extravagant exploration of loneliness, anxiety, and narcissism, starring Philip Seymour Hoffman. He plays an esteemed playwright who mounts a new production celebrating the mundanities of everyday life, a project that increases in scale until you have doppelgangers of Caden casting their own doppelgangers, directing plays within a giant sprawling replica of New York. I've included it on this list because of the worlds within worlds idea, and also because Caden becomes this kind of nervous, fragile god of his own world, simultaneously in control and not. But it's important to note that the tone is very, very different here to The Truman Show. It's incredibly funny, but it's also a never-ending stress nightmare.
There are nearly 13 million people in the world. Can you imagine that many people? And none of those people is an extra. They're all leads of their own stories.
6. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, 2004, directed by Michel Gondry. Another Jim Carrey film with a serious performance, also another Charlie Kaufman script in collaboration with Gondry and Pierre Bismuth. Joel Barish is wallowing in self-pity following a breakup and visits a clinic that specializes in a procedure that removes all memories of a specific person. Things get trippy when he becomes aware of the procedure partway through, prompting a jumbled-up internal tour of his rapidly collapsing memories. One thing I love about this film is how the sci-fi element is portrayed in such boring ways. Like, the outside world is dry and mumbly and realistic, which offers a perfect contrast when we start seeing really crazy psychedelic imagery inside Joel's head.
I don't understand what I'm looking at. Why am I standing here and... oh my god, deja vu. Deja vu.
7. Dream Scenario, 2023, directed by Christopher Borgley. This bizarre, darkly funny film explores modern celebrity through magical realism, with Nicolas Cage as Paul Matthews, a petty, depressed biology professor and suburban dad who inexplicably starts appearing in people's dreams all over the world. It starts out as a curious novelty, catapulting him to instant global fame, but quickly becomes harmful. Besides looking amazing and sometimes getting very, very big laughs out of me, it presents an incredibly modern take on some of the themes present in the movies we've talked about, including The Truman Show, Louis XIX, and EdTV. Of all the things I've watched for research, this movie might actually come closest to answering the question I posed in the very first episode of Trutalk, about what it would look like to make something like The Truman Show in the present day.
Does it turn me on?
Maybe somebody's dreaming about me right now.
Yeah?
Maybe a bunch of people at the same time.
How many?
8. Severance, a 2022 television show created by Dan Erickson. One of the best TV shows of this decade, Severance uses the imagery of boring corporate capitalism to make a surrealist horror comedy about literally selling your soul. The main characters opt into a surgical procedure that splits their memories, essentially meaning that while they are at work, they exist as a different person. And the company they work for, Lumen, has an overtly cult-like corporate culture and keeps its workers siloed off from each other so nobody ever has a full picture. It's a full-on puzzle box full of mystery elements, answers that prompt more questions, and really fine-tuned suspense. Also, the design, props, costume, and music are all absolutely to die for.
Thank you for taking the welcome survey. I can sense that the questions made you feel afraid or disoriented. Well, the good news is you're at an orientation.
9. Maniac, a 2018 television show created by Kari Joji Fukunaga and Patrick Somerville. Two strangers, played by Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, meet whilst undergoing a mysterious clinical trial claiming that it will solve all your psychological problems with absolutely no side effects. Through a combination of VR technology and pharmaceuticals, they're sent on bizarre journeys through the subconscious. I absolutely adore this series and have watched it several times through, and its funny, playful approach to reality makes it feel like a suitable modern successor to the work of Michel Gondry in the 2000s, like Eternal Sunshine, or his earlier film The Science of Sleep. Also, Justin Theroux is absolutely hilarious, and he gets to use the greatest prop in the history of science fiction.
I'm going to save the world.
We will tell you when there's recreation time as a group.
Yes.
We will also tell you when you have...
You're gonna save the world.
We will tell you when to sleep.
But not if you blow our cover.
And 10. The Majestic, 2001, directed by Frank Darabont. This movie is the reason I wanted to make this video, and personally I think it's the best one for a double feature with The Truman Show. An overlooked classic, The Majestic was written by Michael Sloan and directed by Frank Darabont, better known for his previous two films, The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. It follows Peter Appleton, a Hollywood B-movie writer who gets blacklisted for suspected ties to communism. He gets drunk, crashes his car, and wakes up on a beach with no memory of who he is. He gets mistaken for a local man's son, who they believed died in the war, and hesitantly assumes his new identity, breathing new life and hope into the town. It has some bad green screen and a few incredibly cheesy lines, but overall is a wonderfully heartfelt love letter to small-town America and to the golden age of Hollywood cinema. It features a surprisingly gentle performance from Jim Carrey, a lot softer and more sincere than either The Truman Show or Eternal Sunshine, and it's far more similar aesthetically to The Truman Show because of its period setting. And while it doesn't deal with artificial realities, it does center around a man caught between two very different worlds. A Hollywood B-movie writer whose life inadvertently becomes a kind of B-movie.
I'm leaving you, Jerry. I'm leaving, and I'm taking the monkey with me.
To round off the video, I wanted to include a few honourable mentions. The first is a 2023 video game published by Raw Fury called American Arcadia. This was mentioned so much in my comments on Trutalk. So if you're looking for something that's like Truman Show but interactive, check it out. If you'd like a book recommendation, I think you should try Ubik, the short novel by Philip K. Dick. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek surrealist fiction that really plays with reality. And although the book itself has never been successfully adapted, it was a huge influence on 1997's Open Your Eyes, which was later remade in English as Vanilla Sky in 2001. You could also basically watch anything that Charlie Kaufman has written or directed. One in particular that's worth mentioning is 2015's Anomalisa, an unsettling, darkly humorous portrait of a narcissist having an affair. It covers a lot of the same themes that Charlie Kaufman keeps returning to, but this time elevates them to new surreal heights with the aid of its unique stop-motion process.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I always love when people ask me, oh, I like this, but I want something different. I want something like this, but different. I love the challenge of making recommendations like that. So this kind of video, it was a no-brainer. And if you want some more, let me know.